African payments company Flutterwave announced that it's closed a $170 million funding round, valuing the company over $1 billion. New York-based private investment firm Avenir Growth Capital and U.S. hedge fund and investment firm Tiger Global led the Series C round. In total, Flutterwave has raised about $225 million. That's to date since inception of the company, and it's one of the few African startups to have secured more than $200 million in funding. Fisayo Durojaye, an investment professional with EchoVC Partners, joins us to discuss further. Fisayo, good morning to you. What does this funding raise valuation mean for the company going forward?
I mean, it means a lot more progress. It means a lot more commitment to delivering value to shareholders, especially to the founding and the founding teams. It also means that for Africa tech ecosystem, right, a lot more searchlight is being beamed on startups across the ecosystem, so it's going to benefit, everybody, including fintechs, health tech, or just startups. Companies using technologies to enable different aspects of our economy at large. So I think it's good news for everybody involved, to the investors and also to the founders. But of course, for me, I'd like to take the excitement away from just the fundraise to talking about the pressure that maybe not pressure, but the commitment that the founders will have to continue to deliver value to not just the existing shareholders, but also to the new shareholders who just came into the business today.
And can we attribute this, the valuations that they've attracted to COVID-19 pushing more companies B2B towards more, digital adoption?
Of course, as part of the announcement, right, it was mentioned that Flutterwave is probably one of those companies that benefited from COVID, because a lot more people have to buy their things online rather than go to physical stores to buy them. Of course, pushing more digital payments across the country, right? So I've seen some meme around what pushes digital strategy for companies. Is it the CEO? Is it the CFO? Or is it COVID? Right? So for most people, COVID forced them to take digital adoptions, and for companies like Flutterwave that have been enabling digital payments, over the years, I think they just benefited largely from that COVID windfall.
I think we have about a minute to go here. The CEO of co-founder and CEO Lugbenga Agbola said they might list on the Nigerian Stock Exchange and also in New York on the Nasdaq, maybe a dual listing. Yeah, dual listing. Can that, if that happens, because he didn't say it for sure, but if that was to happen, does that maybe encourage more IPOs for tech companies in Nigeria and beyond?
To list on the New York Stock Exchange, you have to be of a certain size. You have to be to command a certain valuation. You have to be quite big. So it's not just a startup. It has to be more mature companies and very big ones at that. So for Flutterwave particularly, listing on New York Stock Exchange is great. It's great for everybody involved. Also listing on Nigerian Stock Exchange, could be great, but I think my biggest challenge is around regulation and restriction. So for instance, PFAs have over $10 million in capital that they can use, but of course, due to regulations, they might not be able to invest in a Flutterwave IPO because they require them to be paying dividends for like 3 years or something, profitable and all of that thing. But of course, for companies like Flutterwave, that might not be their priority right now, right? So it means that it pushes the question around, can the people with the deepest capital pool invest in Nigeria's expanding tech ecosystem? And that's the question that we need to ask ourselves.
Great stuff. Okay, I thought we had only a minute. We have more time for science. I can squeeze out another question. Okay, so Paystack, $200 million acquisition last year. Interswitch, was it 20 million or so from $200 million from Visa? Yes, in 2019. Yeah. Now we've got Flutterwave and this funding raise. Is the African ecosystem, or rather the fintech space, is it defined by payments? Because it just seems to be payments, or is that just as a result of where we are and the financial inclusion gap in Africa's largest economy?
So for me, I believe that for any tech ecosystem to grow, right, payment has to be solved, right? I have this theory around e-commerce in Nigeria. Some of the reasons why they struggled at the early days is because payment was not solved. So that's going to build payments, that's going to build distribution, that's going to build all of those things. But once payment is solved, it means that people can build digital ecosystems or digital e-commerce platforms and then be able to collect money. If you can't get paid for the kind of work you do, it's a lot difficult to build a business in the first place. So companies like Paystack, Flutterwave, Interswitch are enabling digital payments, right? So that for me is the thing that is driving interest in payment. But of course, it doesn't mean that payment has been completely solved. Until my grandmother in the village can easily accept payment for the yam she sells, until that farmer in Borno will be able to easily accept payments, for the cow that's going to sell. All of those things have to continue to drive to ensure that yes, a lot more people are brought up to the digital ecosystem, right? So for me, I think that's the biggest thing. But for any tech ecosystem to thrive, payment has to be frictionless, and I think that's what is driving the interest in fintech and of course payments. So even for betting is based on payment. For lending is about payment and collection, right? So payment is a critical factor for any tech ecosystem to thrive.
Fantastic. So, okay, now we have a minute left. Fisayo, is this really encouraging though for Nigeria's payment space? And do we expect more big news like this going forward for, I guess, other players in this space for 2021? Briefly.
I think that we are expecting a lot more from Nigeria. I mean, it's just March, right? We still have like about 9 months to go, so there's still a lot of good news to expect from the ecosystem. There are a lot of B2B players raising capital right now, doing different, very big, capital raises. And I think it's the first of many good news to follow, I believe. So fingers crossed, I guess.
Fantastic stuff. Fisayo Durojaye, investment professional with EchoVC Partners. Thank you for sharing your thoughts on the Flutterwave unicorn status of $1 billion.